All right, y'all. Welcome to the Souffrant podcast, sponsored by Irv Lee Productions. And please subscribe so that you can be notified of future content. Today, I have some guests with me, some celebrities from Huntsville, Alabama. Why don't y'all introduce yourselves?
So I am Jessica Carter, and this is my husband.
I'm James Carter. Nice to meet you guys.
I love how simple they made it. First, all right. Because they really the ones and the twos, let me tell you. But let's start off with y'all story. How did y'all meet? What's going on?
Okay, so...
Not the short form.
Wait.
He wants a long form.
How long have y'all been together first? Let's start there. How long have y'all been together for?
We've been together for 24 years.
24.
How long y'all been married for?
We've been married for... This year will be 20 years.
Yeah.
We celebrate 20 years of marriage this year.
Yeah, It's been a while.
All right, now tell us your story.
Okay, so our story is he was stalking me, and so I was minding my business.
Hey,
I believe her. I believe her.
But you know when you stalking ain't bad.
See?
Hey,
Clip that up. He is crazy.
Hey, in certain context.
And that's the show, ladies and gentlemen.
In certain context.
All of a sudden,
in certain
people
context.
be stalking people. James said, in certain situations.
Hey, I'm just kidding, guys. Do not go and stalk people and say that James said, because that is not what I meant.
No, if you do say it, say James Carter.
I know, yeah.
But seriously, though, we met when we were younger. I ain't gonna say our age at the time.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
We met we met at church.
Yeah.
Back in 1990 something. We met at church. His
He
family
was carrying the chairs?
No. As a matter of fact, his family. We used to go to this church that was behind the track. It was a little small country church, small country Pentecostal church. And I
back in the woods.
Back off in the woods. And I remember
holiness.
Literally.
I'm talking about holiness.
Literally.
I'm talking. We
had
had
some good church.
washboard.
We had some good church.
Washboard stuff.
We had some good church.
Listen,
I know y'all did.
One time we had the. They had the one bass drum. That's not. See, that's not even what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be how we met.
Yeah.
We met at that church, and I remember the Sunday that his family joined the church. It was like 20 chocolate people all at one time.
We travel deep. It's a lot of us.
I mean, his family was thick. They joined the church, and they would drive like an hour.
Yeah.
And we were in church like Monday through Monday.
So we was on. So we were on the Florida, the Georgia line. Yep. They were on the Florida line. So Georgia. Florida line.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So we would cross over into Florida into church.
So you're from Florida originally?
Yes, originally from Florida. He's from Georgia. Yeah. And so we like I said, we met at church. He eventually became the minister of music. Yeah. And I was in the sound room because I didn't really have an attitude to do nothing else like ushering, and I didn't have a voice to sing in the choir. But you're going to do something to serve in the church.
But they put you in the choir and was trying to get you to sing.
That ain't that.
Okay. You don't want to tell that story. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they did.
So you wasn't trying to usher?
Listen. Because y'all coming in here with an attitude, and I'm not going to be able to make a play.
You got to be a certain kind of person.
I'm matching your energy. That was before I was delivered.
Hey, hallelujah. Ain't God good.
Ain't he all right? But yeah, he like for real talk though. After he saw me, he started stalking me like for real.
But you got to say why.
His cousin, I don't know why. Your cousin kept saying like my cousin like you, and I was like,
I told her to say that.
But the thing is, it's crazy because at the time I was ignorantly interested in somebody else.
She tells people that story.
I was ignorantly
to this day I don't believe that.
In somebody else.
I figured he's wild.
But listen, but I say ignorantly because I ain't know no better. I didn't know any better. God had all this amazing man right there, and I'm focused on the wrong thing.
Gotcha.
Exactly.
Yep.
But
I'll say it like this. So I always tell the story, and it's a true story. But she always downplay my story. But let me tell my quick side of the story.
And this is why I told
to get into this. No, real quick, because you're at that point. So
okay.
So I was young, and I was I was done with girls. I said, I'm not doing anything with girls anymore. My heart broken and all that stuff.
I wasn't going to put you out like that.
I'm about to say, what does that mean exactly?
I don't want to go too far to that.
You're like 13 years old, bro.
But no, for real. I went through some stuff, real quick, and I shut that down. So I was just in my word and praying, and I was praying hard. But I was in church one day, and I heard granddad, his name was Early. So it was Deacon Early. He was always early. Like, he would keep them early. He drove the van, the church van.
Oh, yeah.
So this particular Sunday, we had two services. It was second service, and they were late. I mean, they were good and late coming to church. Church had started. I'm playing drums. I'm like, man, where they at? It was weird, but I was
looking for it.
Yeah, well, not for her. I was.
There it is.
At the
he told on himself.
Honestly, at the time, I was not looking for her because we wasn't even.
You
talking.
just said you was looking for her.
Hey, help me. No, seriously. So they were late. They came in, and I remember the day like it was yesterday. You know, she came in. She had on the blue dress with flowers on it. Yeah, she came in. She came walking, and I saw a light. Like it was a light that was, on her, thickly, if you will. And
the light was thickly.
The light, yeah, like it was.
I'll try to understand what
vibrant.
you're saying.
Yeah, I got you. It was a vibrant light. It was,
vibrant.
It was wild. It was shine.
Yeah.
So So she come walking down the aisle. I'm playing the drums, and I look over and I see this. I'm like, that's weird. So I turned back around, like, that is weird. So I turned back around and I saw the same thing that I saw. As she came in and sat down, I said, hold on, are you trying to show me something, God? It was weird now. So after that, that's when I became infatuated. And she keeps telling people I was stalking. I wasn't stalking. God showed me my wife. So I told her this befed we started dating. I told her, I said, you're going to be my wife. And she thought I was crazy. I thought he was literally. Cocoa Puffs. So like she said, I got a lot of cousins. I have, got a lot of female cousins. So I had my female cousins going over to tell her. I told them, I said, hey, go tell her I like her, boom. And they was like, that girl already got a boyfriend. She don't want you. I'm like, that's not what I said. Go tell her.
And I didn't even have a boyfriend either.
But they told me they didn't say it. I found out years later that they actually did go and tell her what I said. So
But as
time progresses.
Because it's not like I was just.
She said I stalked her. But as you guys see, I told her before this thing happened.
Yeah. So all the
God
church brothers,
do exactly what he said.
Yeah.
He's gonna do.
All the church brothers, that line still works.
Yeah, it does.
God told me
exactly
that line still works.
Yes, it almost did it. I'm telling you, that's literally the reason why I was
you
like.
Me then? No, I'm just kidding.
Almost doesn't count too, by the way. Just let you know.
Exactly.
Well, that is what Brandy said.
Yeah, that's what she said. Almost.
But that's one of the reasons why I literally was like not interested in him because of that whole God said you're gonna be my wife. Number one, you're crazy.
Yeah, church boys had kind of messy
and
stuff
my brain like before we started filming, I told you like I was the rebellious type, like in church, not like a bad rebellious type, but like everything had to make sense to me. Like even like before, even with faith, like it had to. If you're gonna show me in the Bible where it says this, then that, and the third, and it was a lot of that had to do with watching people who say they love God and they love Christ and they're saved, sanctified, Holy Ghost filled, fire baptized. But the lifestyle that they led was not reflective of what they said out of their mouths. And so at that point, I was like, I marry anybody. It definitely won't be anybody who is somebody that love the Lord. Because you're gonna have to show me that that's who you are and not tell me. If you say that a lot, then that literally just turned me off. Because I saw people mistreat their wives in church and the women in church, and I didn't want a church guy because in my mind, church men didn't treat their women right. So why would I subject myself to that if I've watched this over and over and over again? But he was able to show me that I'm not like them, so don't group me into this lump of people simply because of one characteristic. Don't try to put all the other characteristics on me.
I see.
And so that's kind of how he won me over, by showing me who he really was, not just what he said.
I see. Wow, that's beautiful. And y'all been together now for 24 years.
24 years. Yeah.
That is amazing.
Over 2 decades now.
The Lord told me you're going to be my wife.
Say it one more time.
The Lord. See?
Listen up.
One thing about the Lord, if it's him, it's going to come to pass.
Exactly.
True statement. So I guess he wasn't a lying prophet.
True
statement. Yeah, he wasn't a lying prophet. He wasn't a false prophet.
I saw the future.
Yeah, you did. You saw the light.
And I spoke it. Exactly. Exactly.
So, all right. So what are y'all doing now? Y'all been together for so long. I know there's a story behind just y'all life. Because it's funny, you said things have to make sense. But the little that I do know, your faith has grown to a certain place.
Oh, yes.
Where now you trust God in ways that you didn't used to.
Yes.
Oh, most definitely.
Trust God. And I know what he has done. We won't go into all of it, but what are y'all doing now? Like, what's the main thing?
So there's a lot of stuff that we do together, and there's a lot of stuff that we do separately on paper, but it's still together. Like we do everything together. Like on paper, for me, I'm the chief visionary officer for the 818 Collective, which is a financial literacy company where basically we teach people how to day trade, invest, how to properly manage their finances, and just an understanding behind why you're going after wealth, not just the getting the money, but why. What are you going to do with the money? How do you invest that money back into your community, back into the kingdom? And so, teaching people those concepts, that's primarily what I do on a day-to-day basis. Outside of that, I'm the secretary for this man, keeping him in check on all the 11 things that he does.
She does that. So yeah, like my wife was saying, I do a lot as well. I'm a sound engineer, so. Like, I think we talked about this beforehand. I did not want to go to college, so I had scholarships, though, for football. I played football in high school, but I decided not to take those because obviously I did not want to go to college. I decided to go to the military, went to the military, and again, said I was never going to college. That was not going to be my thing. I'm not doing that. However, I'm now a professor, so I teach out. I know, it's crazy to say that, the irony, but I love it, man. I love it, but it's what I love, you know what I mean? I teach all things sound, so I do sound engineering out at Calhoun Community College, but before I did that, I was a mechanic in the military, got in the military, went to sound school to learn everything about sound, went to Nashville. I was in Nashville for 5 years, working with the who's who in country. If you name them, I'm pretty sure I probably worked with them, with my mentor. Came back here, took over the program at Calhoun, teach out at UAH, and have my own thing at the house, Launch Studios. So if you guys look it up, Launch Studios here in Madison, you'll see all the reviews, all the stuff that I do. But like she said, if you see the graphics and all that, she's doing that.
If you see graphics, I told you stop telling people that I am not.
She's killing it.
I am not a graphic artist at all.
and all the secretary work. I don't do all of the. So hey guys, if you are contacting me and somebody saying something about you, like, man, James don't sound like that. The professionalism. It's my wife, man. I'm telling you guys, she killing it. But no, we have fun though. That's and I'm also at Berkeley right now to get my master's degree. So I'll be finished with that. You
kind of just try to like humbly slide that.
Yeah.
Like those that know. Don't try to just sneak. Those of us in the music realm that know, we know what you said.
Oh, I forgot you play keys
too. Yeah.
So it was hard to get into Berkeley, but I got in, thank God, and I'm finishing that up right now. I'll be done with Berkeley June, July this year with my master's degree. But man, it's fun. I mean, we enjoy life. We really, for those of you that are married or allowing people to tell you that marriage is not fun. Marriage is fun.
That's a fact.
Yes.
Yeah, we love each other. We love, others. I love coming home, knowing that I got somebody at the house that I can talk about all the stuff that just happened at school. If somebody make me mad, wait till I get to the house and tell my wife about it. hey, I'll blow the steam off. She'll tell me.
Go ahead, break the steam. Exactly.
Then she'll tell me how to, when I get back to school, you may not want to say this, to fix things, make sure I don't lose my job,
Right.
And that's been a lot. But I come home, she's got the bubble bath ran, she's got the candles lit at the house. Like it's just, but she already knows we talk all day, She knows if I got a bad day.
I can tell by the conversation that this is a moment that I now need to serve him. I need to cater to him because he's had a day, and I can't expect him to come home and cater to me with the way he's feeling right now. So let me make sure that he's okay. So I go ahead and get everything prepared so when he come in, he can just decompress.
A couple gems I'm hearing. One, get you a queen that's going to serve you.
Yes.
And two, have a bathtub that can fit you.
Yes.
I mean, she probably got to run a hot shower
You
for
said
me
a strong word.
She can't run
You said a big word just then. No, you're right. All these tubs, they make tubs that big small.
Hey,
you got to take that one out
and
put your big one in
the
there.
shower and it steams it up. Same effect.
All right, I'm gonna need
But I want to make sure I say this too. She take care of me. I also take care of her.
Yes,
we do it together.
Very well.
It's not she's gonna submit to me and do all these. No, we do it together. If she comes home and she's tired, she's beat down, I run the water, same thing, massage her feet, do all the, make sure she's taken care of. We don't live by this 50-50. We've decided years ago that we don't live by the 50-50 because when she had her miscarriage, which hard to go into that right now, but when she went through that miscarriage, she wasn't 50%, she wasn't 60%. She was all the way down. So I had to be like 85, 90% in the marriage and then, uphold her. At the same time, we had our daughter. My daughter was going through. She was crying, trying to figure out what's going on with Mom. So I got to be 120%, I still got to go to work. I still got to take care of my daughter. She's doing all, and then I got to go to the hospital, make sure my wife is good, So you can't feel like, well, she's not upholding her part. What did you say yes to? You know what I mean? What did you say yes to as a husband? And it's not to be the person who's gonna, be in charge of. I'm the head of the household. If you're that person, then you're gonna lose your marriage. You're gonna lose your wife. You're gonna lose your family. Everything. And I've never been that way. Yeah. And together, we command our household together. It's and it's been that way for 20 years now.
Yeah.
So we do a lot. We do all the stuff and then we serve each other.
Yeah.
You left out the fact that we pastor Chain Breakers Ministry right here in Huntsville, Alabama. Where we have a community outreach called Grace's Table, where every fourth Sunday of the month we go out and we feed those that are misplaced from their homes or homeless or whatever the case may be, or just maybe you have a home but you just don't have the money to access the hot meals. So we provide hot meals, and thank God we've had some people that have been able to partner with us here over the last several months that provide clothings and different things like that. They provide avenues for them to be able to get resources to get a job or something like that, because for some people it's just something bad happened in their life, and it puts them in that space. And so through Grace's Table, we're able to help to provide things like that for the community. There's a lot. Like in my mind, I'm like, man, trying to say everything that we do. There's a lot that we do, and I'm sure we've left something out.
I'm pretty sure, but that's one thing that I like about you guys is it seems like y'all make time for each other.
Yes.
You know, so I'm real big on the head of the household thing, right, as a man. But I teach it from a position of leadership.
Yeah,
exactly.
Right? Like being the head of the house means being the leader of the house.
Yes.
So as a leader, especially we're talking biblical times, as a leader, you fall on your sword if it's not managed correctly.
That's totally
You can't
true.
blame nobody else.
Yep.
You know, but if it goes well, you give the team the credit.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it's one of those
Perfectly said.
things, if a husband brings that into the household, where it's like, okay, now I'm thinking more strategic to honor my vows, but really because I love my wife.
Yeah,
and I love my
exactly.
kids.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
And I think too, when you're a husband who loves your wife like that, and you serve her to a certain extent, in that way to show her that love that you have for her, it makes it easy for us as a wife to let you lead. I know it sounds crazy, but so you let her lead, but it makes it easy for us to let you lead, and we sit there, we take. I don't want to necessarily say the background, but hey, we're right there having your back. So if anything that you miss, it's like, hey, you might be leading, but hey, don't forget this, and we got to do that and make sure that. So it's still you still work together as a team.
That's right.
But that's because you're an effective leader.
Exactly, and that's through trust. You know,
Yes.
one thing that a lot of people they miss is that trust it has to be the foundation. You know what I mean? But the way you trust each other is by learning each other. You have to spend more time, and you have to also grow. Like we've been together for 2 decades now.
Yeah.
I'm not the same person that I was
right.
at the beginning of our marriage. You know what I mean? So I went through the military stuff. I went to Iraq. You know, going to Iraq 2 times. So the PTSD and all that stuff. She understands a lot of that stuff. So she's able to deal. But she was in the military as well. So she's able to deal with me in certain facets of, you know, the decades that we went through. Same thing on the other hand. She's not the same girl that she was all those years ago. There's other things that she's been through. She's been through pregnancy. She's been through, you know, so it's a lot that even her body has went through that I've got to, as a husband, understand. So, you know, you have to know, and I think it comes with decades. I say decades. It comes with wisdom and growth through the years of understanding, you know. And once you do that and you grow and you learn that trust, I told her if she divorces me or she wants divorce, whoever the dude is you get with, let him know. I'll be right around the corner waiting for my food. And I'm coming, because I ain't going nowhere. I ain't going nowhere.
Right here on the couch.
I ain't going nowhere.
Y'all be just all be here together.
You're going to be loving about to be poly now. Look.
Yeah, we don't put too much time in. Way too much. But it's fun, though. I said a lot, but it's a true statement. Marriage is fun when you understand certain concepts in marriage, like you just said about, you know, leading. I'm not leading with a strong sword where I'm coming home and I'm killing everything at the house. That's crazy. If you do that, then you shouldn't look for them to give back. Like, don't go home and beat your wife up and then now you're supposed to go and cook and do all these things and you're fussing and, you know, you're cussing her out and all that stuff. That's not right. That's
it just doesn't work neither.
It does not work.
You know, and it's examples like this where we can show people that being gentle is not being weak.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like it's profitable if it's a love relationship to be gentle and to be considerate and to adjust your expectations.
Yes.
You know, because sometimes it's not going to look like what you thought it was going to look like.
Exactly.
How am I going to adjust my expectations based off who my spouse is and what they need in this season?
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
You just said a mouthful about adjusting your expectations, because when you said like we're not the same people that we were when we first met, those 2 teenagers that were in love, like the goals and the visions that I have for myself have shifted over the years. I mean, I went from wanting to, you know, all I wanted to do was join the military and be a soldier, get in, do my 20, 30 years, become a sergeant major, maybe become an officer or whatever the case may be. And I had these career goals, but then, you know, along the line, things happened. I got medically discharged, so that shifted. And then I went into another career field and realized there, like, this is really not what I want to do. And it all circled back to, well, what did you want to do? Even when you first joined the military, what was it that I wanted to be a psychologist. And so now going back to that and telling him, hey, like, you know, I need to go back to school now. And so and he's like, but we got a full-time job, so how do we make this work? Easy. He was like, easy. So you just figure out the program that you can get into, that you can go in, you can go to class after school, you know, do what you need to do. I hold things down at the house, just like you held it down when I was in Iraq. I got this for you to now have your moment to do what you need to do. So I was able to go finish my degree and do all of that stuff while he was taking care of things at the house, while I was pursuing me in a moment. And so,
but wait, you have a psych degree?
Yes.
But you treat people day trading. You teach people
Yes.
day trading.
Yes.
I just want to make sure I ain't.
Yes.
My brain was like,
yes.
Are you getting it now?
But talk about it then.
So I have a psych degree, but I also have experience as a resource management analyst for the federal government. So my daytime job was finance. My vision for myself, my daytime job helped me pay the bills.
Yeah.
But my vision for myself was I wanted to understand the human brain and understand how people think and how they process things. And then once I understand how they think and process, now how can I help them to better themselves?
Right.
And so God just merged both of those things together, my degree in psychology and my experience as a resource management analyst together. And now I'm able to help people and their behavior towards their finances and how they see their money, how they understand their money, their relationship with their money, and then how they interact with others depending upon how much, because sometimes people change on you depending on how much money they have.
That's true.
And so now being able to point out that there's a flaw sometimes in your relationship with money. And so this is why you can't keep money because of these habits that you've created. But why have you created these habits?
Right.
Now let's get back and see mentally what's happening here. And so I'm able to marry all of that together and
Okay, well, let me ask you this.
A1A
Oh, sorry.
collective.
No, I was going to say, I think I was her first student.
Hey, I hear that.
So in her teaching me, I totally understand what she's saying now about the mental thing. It is a trading. I know we're going to get into it in a second, but trading is a mental thing. And you don't know your relationship with money until you start and you put the first trade in. I'll be up all night.
Listen.
I'll put some money into an account. She taught me how to do all that. Put the money into an account, and I'll start trading. She said, you do not need to trade if you're not with me because you don't understand the. I got it. Don't worry about it. You know, and it's not trading at that moment. It's gambling. You know?
Yeah.
But I didn't understand. I didn't understand all that stuff. You know, like I said, I was her first student. So I go in there and I'll be up. I put like $1,500 in there, and I put a trade. But I put a trade.
And you know what he said? He wasn't even putting like little money in there to test it out.
Hey, people like $100, $500 in there.
$1,500. Like you don't even know what you're doing.
But I didn't understand the ratio, like trading ratio and psychology, mental psychology. I didn't understand any of that stuff. I just wanted to make some money real quick because I watched her do it. I'm like, man, she making money. I can do it.
She make it look easy,
right?
Yes.
So I can do that. I mean, one night I got it. I put in and I put a big loss. I think I did like $40 or more. You know, and it moves fast. The market doesn't play. You know. But I'm up all night. I'm talking about literally up all night. It ran all the way down to like $700 negative. Then it went down to $800 negative. And it'll kick you out if you're not careful based on the, what do you call it?
Margin call.
The margin call, yeah. So I was like, please don't do this because if my wife wakes up and she sees this, she's going to be mad. Because it's not about the money. It's about I'm not listening. Like you're teaching me, so I'm supposed to be. But it's a psychology thing. You know? I also want her to be proud. Like, look, I did this. However, I did it. Still, I wasn't taking the concepts that she was teaching me to understand. You know, the fear of missing out, FOMO. That's a real thing. You know. Yeah, it is. So I did that, and man, I think it was like 6 o'clock in the morning. The market turned around. It came back. And it got up to about, I got back up to $1,500, and it got up to like $200 over. I came back, I left the room. I was downstairs. I didn't want to wake up and see it because she gets up and go to the bathroom. So I remember I came back up to the room. I laid in the bed, and she was like, "You good? Like, where you been?" I was like, don't worry about it. I said, here, just take this money whenever it's done, you know. And she looks at it, "Oh, you up?" I turned around and went to sleep. But hey, when I woke up, I told her the whole story. She said, "I told you. What do you?" I said, "But I made money." She said, "No, but it's stressful. Yeah. You cannot do that every time. If you do that every time, you will run yourself crazy. You have to understand the market, how to analyze all that stuff." So she taught me a lot of that stuff, which is what she teaches her classes now, how she teaches students. But I had to fall back because it's stressful. Yeah, you know, it's very stressful.
And honestly, like
if you don't have a coach, I'll say like
analyzing the market, I feel like the easiest concept I can teach people is how to analyze the market. Reading the charts and understanding your support, your resistance, and all of that stuff. Like that is the easiest thing.
It is.
The hardest thing for people to grasp to help them be successful in trading is getting the control of their mental and proper risk management. Yes. And most people can't set proper risk management because they don't have control of their mental. You have the fear of missing out. You run into greed. You run into things like people want to, you know, they just because they've heard somebody say on social media that they made $10,000 in an hour, and now you think that's something that's going to happen every day. No, I made $10,000 in an hour. I don't make $10,000 every hour. Right. I don't make $10,000 in an hour every single day either. Right. Sometimes I've lost 10 grand, like you know things like. But they see those highlights, and so now it's like I want to make that money. I want to make that money. It's like no, wait, calm down. Even if you made that money, would you even be able to keep it? Exactly. Have you ever had that much money at your disposal at one time? You know, like how do we now deal with now that you've made this money? What do you do with it? Because if you have a problem with saving, you have a problem with budgeting and all of that stuff, now you're going to be like, a junkie. Just trying to go after the money because you need that next high.
Right.
And now that's what it becomes for you. It doesn't become literal freedom. And what I would like to help people to understand and to teach people is time freedom. Maximizing the value of your time through day trading, investing. And it don't even necessarily have to be day trading because sometimes the market just is not favorable for you. It's not for everybody. But just getting to understand those concepts is not the only thing you need. You need to be able to control you because you can't control the market. And that's what I have tried to get people to understand. You can't control the market, but you must learn how to control you.
That's really
and
good.
how you react to the market. Because the market's gonna do what it's gonna do. It doesn't care about you. It don't care about your feelings. It don't care about how much money you put in it.
Right.
Take it all.
It'll take it all, or it'll give it to you. But it doesn't care who you are. You have to care who you are. You have to care about the things about that concern you. And now putting all that into perspective and let that govern how you trade. And so that's how I utilize my psychology degree from the long way around to help my students in day trading.
That's awesome. What do you think is the biggest, I guess, mental hurdle when it comes to people and finances? And I'll let me give like a little backstory to that. We had the rights, right? They came through, and I asked them specifically about the Black community because that's where my heart is at. You know what I mean? Primarily because of all of the things that we've been through as a people. And we now know, well, we've always known, but now the Western world knows that trauma is passed down genetically.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And so there are some real issues. We're fighting our ancestors' battles in a whole different world. And it seems like we don't get the level of grace that we need, but it's also like we have to find a way to push forward and not expect that grace from the outside world.
Exactly.
I know for me it comes from Christ, so I'm straight. Like, I'm able to be delivered from all these things, but everybody may not come to that knowledge or that space, whatever, right? But we still have a common battle and struggle. So what do you think is the biggest hurdle when it comes to money, mentally?
Mentally, I think the biggest hurdle for people when it comes to money is wanting to look like what you see other people have.
Keeping up with the Joneses type stuff?
Yes, definitely. Mentally, that's the biggest hurdle because there's something about us that feels like we sometimes want what, not so much so that you want what other people have, but it's like if they can have it, why can't I? And then you go into trying to make money in such a way to create a life that you see, especially now with social media being as popular as it is, and that level of access that you have into other people's lives. And so, like I said before, people show you their highlight reels, and so you look at those highlight reels, and now you want that because it's like, why can't I have that? Like you said, our ancestors fought, and so we deserve, reparations. They don't want to give it to me, so now how do I get that myself? But the thing is, we want it quickly. We want it too fast.
I see.
You want it too fast. We don't want to take the time that it takes to lay a solid foundation. Because if you get it fast and there's no foundation, you're going to lose it just as fast as you got it. But if you've laid a solid foundation, at some point you got to get Demetrius Curry on the show where she can talk to them about setting up their trust and getting their life insurance policies and all of that stuff in place. When you've laid those solid foundations, then as you build on that, it makes the obtaining of wealth a lot easier. We want it easy, but we don't want to do the hard stuff first.
That's deep. What would you say, being her husband and being her first student, what was it that clicked in your mind that said, I might be moving too fast, or I might even be underestimating the power and responsibility that she's giving you? You know what I mean?
Exactly. So, man, with me, I think it was the stress. I didn't understand it. Because like you said, she made it look so easy.
That phone, he looked like you remember the what was it? The Road Runner?
Yeah.
That's what he looked like. I was like, what?
I was tired, man. But there's like being mentally tired is different than like going to work out or physically. My mind was just broken. But I was like, man, she make it look so easy because she'll make money. Now, I'll say this: when she first started doing this, she got a coach that she learned from, and she flew out of town. She went to all the seminars and all the stuff. So she really took time to learn the concept before she walked away from her job. When she walked away from her job, though, there were some accounts that she had got, and now we don't tell people a lot of this story. However, it's true. she got some accounts and then she just blew those accounts.
Yeah.
And she had to go through some mental,
Listen.
And I told her, I said, you're good. Like, I know you can do this. I watched you. We paid for the classes. You did all stuff. Here's the money. Go do another account. Here's the money. Go do another account. She blew like, 3 or 4 accounts or so. Yeah. But that's how you, like she just said, that's how you learn with anything. It's repetition, the law of repetition. You repeat it. If you fail and you don't get back up and go again, you're not going to conquer, It's like it's the story of the person that won the lottery. When you win the lottery, if you don't have the skill set to understand how that happened, which, there's just numbers, you know what I mean?
That's right.
Most people that win the lottery, they're going to lose their money immediately within the
years.
year or 2 years.
70% of people.
Exactly. They lose all of it, However, that person that's a millionaire that has the skill set, that learned the skill set by failing, I say failing, it's learning. You're really learning as you go through. But as they learn in the process of falling and getting up, once they get the $1 million or more, whatever they get the wealth, whenever they fall, if they lose it all, you see them back up again in a year or two or more because they understood the importance of the skill set. So with me, I said, I told my wife, I said, baby girl, I said, you got the skill set, but now I'm happy that I went through it because now I understand at times what she's going through in her mind. Although she may make her students, they see her, at this. It's like a person that's 15, 20 years old. That kid may not understand what they're going. Or I said not the adult. Right. I go to the adult. So somebody that's 25, 30 years old that has bills. A kid that's 15 years old who don't understand light bills and you don't understand certain stresses that they're going through. You know. And now that she's gotten as far as she is, I see some of the students that they cause certain burdens on her. And like I just said, when she come from teaching, if she gets off of a Zoom call, I already see that she's going. So I go and rub her feet, but I understand the stress that she's going through as her husband because I've been there before. Because then she had a big account that she was trading. That wasn't just her. She was trading for other people, which I didn't want her to do that. She decided to do it. She was trading for other people, and they were stressing her out, calling all the time. Hey, but when she would make $5,000, $10,000 per person for them. Like she said, it's a mindset. You take the money, and instead of using the money to go and invest the money, you take the money and then you go and use it for something else, whatever the case may be. But then if she loses $1,000, $2,000, hey, why did we lose this money? You get to, they begin, exactly. They begin to get into these conversations that stress her out, which I want her to get out of it,
But even that though is a learning process though, because you learn and you grow and you realize what's for you and what's not for you. Right. And I realized for me, that's not for me. I don't want to be responsible for people in that way because my mentality is different than some people. Yep. Like I told you, there was a month when I lost like $25,000 that month, and as crazy as it might sound to some people, I was okay with that. Because I'm like, literally, I have the skill set to make this back.
Right.
But when you add other stressors on, like I had to, for a while, I had to take a break to where I wasn't trading at all because just mentally, I was not in a good space to be able to do that. And I feel like if you're not in the space mentally, it doesn't matter how skilled you are in something. Mentally, if you're not there, don't touch it. Yeah.
So I could imagine that those stressors might even cause you to doubt yourself in some things.
Yes. Listen, he had to.
I had to coach him back out. Like, I'm like, why you keep saying, I don't think I'm good at this. I can't do this. I want to quit. Like, what do you mean you want to quit? Where's this coming from?
Quit for everybody else. Hey,
not for us. Because I watched you make $10,000, $5,000, $20,000. I've watched you do this. So where's this coming from? But like you just said, that doubting thing is real. But when you begin to allow other people's mindsets to sit inside of to give them real estate in your mind, and it's like I said, the mental game is a real thing. So her teaching, I told her, I said, baby girl, you need to teach a class, not on the trading stuff, but I mean on the trading stuff as well. But you also need to do a separate class, fully separate, on just the psychology of money and how you see money, how you perceive money. Because I don't think it's just a black-white thing. I don't think it's not really. It's people's mindset on how they perceive based on how they was raised. Yeah. Any color, it can be Hispanic. Yeah. All of us have our own ideology of money, and that money can control us to a certain extent if we're not careful.
Absolutely.
And some mentalities are definitely not racial mentalities. Some of them are just class mentalities.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. It just depends on whether you grew up middle class, low class, high class, whatever the case may be. Some depending on the community that you were in, and certain perceptions and preconceived notions that were, I hate to say bestowed upon you, how to do in the barbershop, that were just kind of given to you or taught to you. Yeah. It's how you operate financially because of like somebody who's never had to work for anything. They just expect money to come to them easily. And as crazy as it sounds to some people, you know, but that's the thing. We'll call it privilege, but those type of people generally don't take no for an answer. They're gonna keep going after it over and over and over again because they believe that it's supposed to be mine. Because it's supposed to be mine. I'm not gonna quit. I'm not gonna give up. But somebody who's felt like, you know, that, you know, maybe this just like I've never had this and this just ain't for me. And there's never been anybody to tell you that just because you've never had it doesn't mean you can't ever have it.
Right.
Exactly.
You know, and you have that mentality that, you know, I never had it, so, you know, it's easy for you to try it and it fails, and then you be like, well, you know, no harm, no foul. At least I tried. No.
Right. No, you gotta keep going.
We're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep pushing.
And
go ahead.
And another thing too to add to that, when I went to Iraq, we learned, and they beat this in your brain. You cannot think under pressure. Even as crazy as you're literally going into a pressured zone, a place where they're shooting and throwing bombs. But we had classes on how to be calm in situations. When I got to Kuwait, we had to go through. They had these Iraqis that came out, and you know these guys was shooting at us. Obviously, it was supposed to be over our heads and all that stuff. But there's a possibility you can die. But they was doing this in order to reinforce the training that they gave us about being calm, because you cannot think you're going to do something crazy. Right. In that same context with this, if you're not calm when you're getting to a situation of a trade. Like if I put a trade in and that trade is down $1,000 and I only got a $2,000 account, I have to be calm enough to understand.
First of all, you should not be $1,000 down. Your risk management is jacked.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Don't teach.
I'm teaching. Okay. I'm a teacher. I can't help it.
But no. Seriously though, if you're in that situation, your skill set, because it could be that you got into a situation where, let's say Donald Trump started talking and you put in a trade and it was not supposed to go like this. Like you said, it should have took you out, but if it didn't for whatever reason, you need to know yourself and how you deal with money, and not how your coach told you to deal with money. You know what I mean? Like what is your ideology and what have you learned enough to be calm enough to know that it's going to come back, or if it don't come back, that's okay. I can win that back tomorrow, next week, whenever I calm myself down and get back into it. But that training comes with skill set, and that's any skill set. We're talking about trading now, but that's literally with anything. If you're a mechanic, and you just went through a divorce, don't go and try to fix somebody's car. You're probably going to tear it up because you can't in the right mind at that moment make an assessment of that vehicle, but, a true assessment based on the training that you have, because you're just you're mentally broken. Which I've seen people do stuff like that, like your profession, and then they'll judge themselves when they make a mistake in a situation based on a mental breakdown. Now you're saying, even though you've been doing this for 10, 15 years, oh man, I better just quit doing this. This ain't good for me. No, you're mentally broken and you're trying to do something outside of being calm and being in the right mind. Being in the right mind is the most important thing. Like this thing right here can make or break anything that you're doing. Like I didn't know I can be in 150 degree weather. Like I had no idea. However, when I got over there and we climatize our bodies.
You said 150 degree. I had a delay.
Yeah.
You said 100. my brain kind of had a quick delay.
I was
you
like,
said 100. You said 150 degrees.
It gets hot. It gets hot in Iraq. Yes, it gets up to 130. One time I looked
at it.
That's
like a sauna, really.
Yes, literally. Yes, it was 150 degrees over there in Iraq.
With full uniform and gear and everything.
Literally. So, I'll say it like this. Since we're talking about it, let me just tell you the story real quick. So when I got over there, me and two of my friends, whatever, we flew in. We had to catch up with our unit. We flew into Kuwait. Man, it was hot. It was hot. It was so hot. It was like a blow dryer. Somebody had a blow dryer just blowing in your face. I couldn't breathe. It was hot. So I thought it was from the plane because it's in the desert. So we just get off the plane. You just walk off and the turbines are still going. So I was like, man, they gotta hit me with this plane. I can't breathe. Plane gets to going. Still can't breathe. Plane gets so far that I can't even see the plane. We still couldn't breathe. So me and my homies started looking. I said, dude, can you breathe? I'm like, no, I can't. Like, what? So we start panicking. Now, these other guys are so far away from us. They were playing basketball. They just kicking it.
They were playing basketball.
Literally playing basketball. They kicking it. We're panicking. Literally panicking. Because we got to be over there for another, 9 months. We got to catch up with the unit. So they look over and say, hey, guys, because they see us starting to panic. Go to the tent. Go to the tent. I'm like, what do you mean go to the tent? Like, we can't breathe. Can't breathe. Go to the tent. Because you don't think. I couldn't understand what they were saying because I was panicking. They teach you how to panic. So we get over to the tent.
They were bad teachers.
Yeah. Literally, yeah. Because, but you don't expect all this stuff, because they try to teach you all this stuff until you get thrown into it,
right.
So they tell, we finally,
that's good.
Yeah, we finally figure out what they're saying. We get over to the tent. They got AC in the tent. I go into the tent and we finally breathe. Thank God. They come in there. All right, guys. We're going to have to get you guys back out here for another 10 minutes and then get you back in. I'm like, I'm not going back out there. Who going out? But they had already told us. They told us this stuff, but you don't really know it until you get into it. You know? So they said, give it about 2-3 months. You guys will be out there playing basketball too. Not me. I'm trying to go home. So me and my homie was trying to go home, but literally, man, in about 3 months, we climatized, everything was good, get out and playing basketball, we see the new guys come flying in. Do the same thing. They out there panicking, going crazy. Hey, go to the tent. Hey, we playing basketball, go to the tent. Go to the tent. They gonna tell you everything. Just go to the tent. They finally go to the tent. Yeah. They go to the tent, same thing. They're in there. They're in there crying and going crazy. Man, what is this? You know, like, it's okay. Calm down. Trust me. We're the same way 3-4 months ago. We were saying, now we're playing basketball. You guys are going to catch up. It's going to be good. But that taught me that it's a mental thing, and we're adaptable to almost anything. And not just physically, but also mentally. God, you know, he really designed us a certain way as people. Because it was already, everybody else was over there. Like, it's the Iraqis live there. You know what I mean? They're not dying. You know? Right. But you don't think about it in the moment. You just think, and we was just unconditioned Americans. literally unconditioned Americans.
Major culture.
Yes, man, it was horrible. But I always tell people that story because it taught me a whole lot about the resilience of the body and the mind together and how we could do, you know, you could take down giants like David did, you know, if you decide to believe in yourself and to believe that God has given you something that's powerful, you know. The brain.
I'm a big believer, well, I'm not going to say a big believer because that might be hyperbolic, but I do believe that there is something about what you think about and how it impacts what you attract.
Oh, yes.
You know what I mean? I'll give you an example. I know when me and the Queen started doing our entrepreneur thing, you know. This was after I think I fired her, because I fired her twice, as y'all already know.
Love it.
You're not going to be doing my friend like that.
Terrible employee. I would never hire her. Yeah, she's supposed to be a boss, though. She needs to do her own thing. If she was under this umbrella, I'm like, you ain't getting it done.
I got you, girl.
So
you see,
go ahead.
I got you.
But she's doing great now. She's doing her own thing. She's doing great. She's doing her clients.
That was then.
But that was then. She has grown and developed. But there'll be times where, you know, like in business, when you first get into business, they don't really teach you the ups and downs, right? So when it's up and it's up, you be like, you start to fantasize about what you about to do.
What you can do, exactly.
Yeah, the momentum. Keep going. I'm going to right? And then it starts to go down. And I remember when it started going down, this was after I had like all this stuff with God that I'm going to cut short for the sake of time, right? When it started going down, I remember thinking to myself, I went to my altar, lit my incense. I was saying, you know, everything that I need is already provided. Whatever I need is already on the way. And it wasn't just me saying like affirmation, though it was an affirmation. I was believing it. I truly, truly believed it. So I didn't change anything about my lifestyle because though things are slowing down, it wasn't even time for those adjustments. But you know, you like anything else, how you fantasize when things are up, you fantasize, yo, this keep going, then that. Then you know you go down the other way. So I'm really big on mindset because once I understood, like, no, and mindset also includes the responsibility piece, which I'm about to get into, right? But as things would go down, I would just, you know, I light my incense, I'll be in my prayer, and I'll say, I already know that it's on the way. So all I'm asking is that you just keep me steadfast till it comes. And it's almost like within 24 hours, it would come. It would just start picking back up. But one thing that I also teach, you know, those who follow my ministry, the Friday Experience, shameless plug. One of the things that I also teach is what I call the Joseph principle. Where when you are up, you prepare for the famine. You know, for Joseph goes 20%, but whatever that percentage is, you got to prepare for the famine. And I think a lot of people don't understand. They see famine as consequences of wickedness instead of cycles of this reality.
Oh, that's good.
That's really good.
You're gonna have abundance and you're gonna have famine. What you do with the abundance determines how you handle the famine.
Exactly.
So can y'all relate to that as y'all teaching people how to trade? I'm sure.
Definitely. Because like I told you, the market it goes in cycles, and I mean it's just one huge pattern, but at the same time, if you get accustomed to trading in a particular direction and then all of a sudden things shift and you got to figure out now how do I get into this market going in the opposite direction because I've gotten so accustomed to just seeing movement in this direction and then or I've been so accustomed to making money that I haven't really lost anything. And for some people it happens like that, you know. Some people can say beginner's luck or however you want to do it, but it happens that way to where you start out maybe making a whole lot and then all of a sudden you start getting loss after loss after loss and now you get devastated. But the one question I always ask them is, what did you do with the gains that you got? What did you do with it? You went about Louis Vuitton and all. I mean, treat yourself. Treat yourself nicely, but don't spend everything. There's some stuff you got to store away. You got to put something in the storehouse because, like you said, you don't know when a famine is going to come, and we don't. Unfortunately, we're not in control of that.
Yeah.
But we are in control of how well that we prepare for the possibility of something like that happening. You don't, I mean, not saying that you live your life thinking that the worst is going to happen all the time.
Exactly.
Right.
You know, people always tell you, what they said, expect the best but prepare for the worst.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
You know, I have that mindset that things are going to work out for me. But you also got to be a realist and say, hey, in the event that they don't,
Right. Yeah.
I got this over here. Because
right.
we even had a situation, and this is on a personal thing. This is not even a student situation. We had a situation to where I had one of my accounts that got locked up, literally. And then everything else got locked up. I'm talking bank accounts and everything. And they were all locked up with no explanation. Like, I couldn't figure out rhyme or reason as to what was happening. The banks couldn't even tell me. It was like, we're just auditing stuff and we're investigating. Okay, well, can you release my money? Because I got people to pay. At the time, I had employees. Like, I got people to pay. And so I need that. But all of my money was in one bank. I had money with a couple of brokers, but they both shut down at the same time. Now, every broker except for mine was still going.
Crazy how it happened.
It was crazy how it happened.
Yep.
And so now we're stuck in a space to where we got to try to figure out, because we had enough money where we were straight because of other stuff that we had going on.
That's right.
That would take care of us. But now how do I make sure that the people, my employees, are taken care of?
Exactly.
Because all of my money is, for my company, is in one account with one bank. But I learned from that.
Yeah.
Diversify not just your portfolio,
That's right.
but diversify even your business accounts. Like, have
exactly.
several accounts with several different banks. Build relationships with several different banks that you can go in. And I mean, eventually we were able to go into the bank and ask for some leniency on some things, and they've been able to open some stuff back up. Thank God. But for a while, we weren't even able to access what we felt like we stored up.
Maybe 2 years,
Yeah, for like
Wow. Oh, it went on for a while.
It went on for a while.
A long while.
For a long while. But at the same time, for me, it was like, okay, so I let that get in my head to where he had to get me out of that space of, baby girl, like, you got a skill set that you could just go with a whole nother broker. But I'm like, well, now what if they do the same thing?
Exactly.
That's
like,
good,
what if they do the same thing? Now mentally, I'm beat up because I'm like, I was doing this with them, and so now he's like, well, just go somewhere else. So I'm like, but now what if they do the same thing? Now all of a sudden, everybody acting up, which is crazy because then things started happening in the market where things were shifting. Regulations were changing. The United States was cracking down on certain brokers, which were some of my favorites. Regulated kind. Because they let you make good trades and you can flip your money a little bit faster than with some of the U.S. regulated brokers. And so I was like, now I got to find somebody else to do that with. But he had to talk me back up and be like, mentally, baby girl, like, use the gift that you have. Use it. But then there was a space where I couldn't. I didn't have the time. I was so caught up with stuff like that. But now that I can't do it, what do we have stored up?
Yeah, and then to add to that about being stored up, when I got out of the military, so we both were in the military. So in the military, we were making good money. I mean, not even thinking about it, just making good money, you know.
First and 15, we knew we was getting paid.
Getting paid good. Now, we wasn't storing up then like we're supposed to be, you know. Well, let me say it like this.
We were not.
We did, but we stored up and we gave a lot to the church. So we were doing.
That's a whole nother.
I gotta be careful. How I say that.
I know, but I can.
But you understand what I'm saying?
Yes,
So we gave a whole lot to the church. So
felt convicted, felt led.
yes, you're saying everything.
Yeah, I know.
You know.
Trust me, I know.
So that's why today we preach that God loves a cheerful giver. Don't give grudge out of necessity. Let God purpose in your heart what to give. Don't let anybody convince you that you're required to give anything that God has not placed on your heart to give.
That's right. And it's not your place to save everybody, including the church.
Exactly.
Because that's God's responsibility.
Yeah. So we went through that season, man. And when I got out of the military, she went to post. Thank God she had got a job, GS7 at the time. She wasn't making, enough to support all the stuff because we had got a brand new house, brand new car. We got a kid, we got a lot going on. And I decided to get out of the military. She gets the job or whatever. I get out of the military. Now, I'm thinking I'm going to get a job easy. Get out of the military. I begin to go to get the job. I get an offer for the job. I was going to be making $60,000. I still got it at the house. It's crazy. I was going to be making $60,000 a year. And then the lady, when I walked in, she was a contractor. So she tells me, are you okay with this, making this amount? I'm like, I mean, am I supposed to be, right? She was like, well, everybody here makes at least 120, 130 up in the place. She said, okay, well, if you stick.
Try to give me half of that. Now I'm not okay.
I was okay.
She should never told. Why she tell you that?
Exactly.
Well, I was okay.
Something like she was telling me, you should be insulted with this.
Oh, wow.
So she tells me.
She was actually trying to help you.
Yeah, exactly. So she tells me if you stick with me in the next year or two, you'll be up to 120 as well. I'm like, this is fantastic. It's gonna be great. Now God told me to go to school when I got out. It was in my spirit. I knew I needed to go to school because I was getting out of the military in order to go to school because that's my first love.
Let me say this though.
Church,
the importance of this story in regard to the question that you asked is
about storing back.
The Joseph mentality is that Joseph was clear on what God was showing him in his dreams. And he was obedient to what God was telling him.
Exactly.
Because I don't matter how much you get.
Perfectly
you're not
said.
obedient to what God is giving to you. And eventually that's going to fall to anyone.
So in that, I knew that God told me to go to school, but I'm thinking to myself, God, go to school. The money on going to school ain't the same as this lady talking about $120,000. I got a baby. I'm telling God this.
You telling him, right?
Yeah.
He don't know.
He don't know
what's going on.
You don't know what's going on in my life.
You gotta remind him.
Literally. I got a baby. I got a wife. I got a brand new house. I go through all the stuff. It's like, God, I do.
We had just bought a new car before we moved back to the States.
Yeah, literally. So I accept the job. I accept the job with flying. Yes, I'm like, man, I'm gonna kill it. I go to school after I get into the job and do all the stuff. I'll do that later, Get to the job, man. The first day, I go in. I got my suit on. I'm looking all good or whatever. She calls me to the office.
He was fine.
Oh yeah, we was in the same building too. That's
my bad. I forgot who's here.
That's another reason why I say yes. I'm gonna work with my wife. Yeah,
that's right. You gonna be the work husband.
Yeah,
I know you gonna be the husband at home, husband at work.
She's downstairs.
I'll play all types of games. Though. We can break room. I'm gonna spit some games. Act like I don't know you. I'll be a fool.
Yes, dude. I couldn't wait. So hey, her boss had told her, your husband can't be wearing these suits up here like. Hey, I was gonna have fun though. So I go into the job for the first day, got my suit on, looking good or whatever. I walk in. She calls me to the office. Hey, James, come to the office with her. I go to the office. She said, why didn't you tell me? She said, your security clearance got denied. I'm like, denied? What are you talking about? It says there's criminal, activity.
Army criminal record.
Criminal record. I'm like, I'm laughing now because I'm thinking.
You the thug.
Yeah, I'm like, all I did was church.
Ashton Kutcher about to jump out and be like, you getting punked.
Literally, I'm like, yeah. Like, you punked me because I ain't did nothing. Like, I've been in church all Germany. I've been, I'm a church player. I don't do all that stuff, whatever. So I'm saying this and I'm laughing.
Like, I love to know for real.
She's not laughing. I'm starting to slowly get embarrassed. Like, and she shows it to me. And she's right. It literally said what she said. She said, so we got to escort you out of the building. I'm like, what? Oh, so now everybody knows I'm a minister in church. I'm all this stuff. Now, God told me not to go. He tells me not to go. He told Jonah not to go.
Listen to the Lord.
Yes.
Jonah.
Yeah. So literally, they escort me out, man. And I look stupid. Like, I look stupid in front of everybody. I was so embarrassed, man. It was
How
horrible.
did that get fixed? I know it was another James Carter?
No. It was me. Dude.
It was God. James Carter.
It's God. No. God knew years before that I would make this decision if he don't cover it. So before I went to Germany, we got married. She was already in Germany, so I was catching up with her. She decided. She said, "Well, she asked me, do you want to put your name on the apartment?" I'm like, "No, no need to. I mean, it don't matter." So we didn't put my name on anything. So I lived with her, but I had to go to work in a town a couple towns over. So we didn't put my name on the thing. So one night we was watching, I think Martin or something, who was laughing. And she was cooking. I was in the living room. I said, "Hey, baby girl, come check this out." So she coming in and we laughing. She goes back in the kitchen. It's a big fire.
It was literally
fire.
It was literally. I had to look to the side. I had to get a side eye because I was attentive to my food. It was literally like 15 seconds.
Grease fire.
I was in the doorway.
Yes.
Wow.
So it burns up all the stove, the kitchen. I get her and the baby out, and I put everything out or whatever. So she had to pay for it because it was on her name. So her unit did the stuff, and they paid for everything. Fast forward all these years past that, maybe about 10 years or so, 5-10 years past
because
that.
He never notified his command that there was a fire at our house.
They said that I didn't pay, I didn't do all this stuff, so
it didn't process through his side of things, but his name was never on the apartment.
As if I destroyed military property.
Destruction of government property.
Hey, I wasn't even going to look it up. My wife made me go look. I said, it's God. I
was in HR in the military, so I need regulations. Tell me something.
So she wanted to know why is this. She said, because think about it, if you have to go back and do something with security clearance, you need to know what it is. So you're not lying to people. Because I said no, So
then I'm like, first of all, I thought I knew you.
No.
What's going on?
So now she's trying to figure out what you got going on that I don't know about.
Baby
girl ain't did nothing.
You clearly out here fucking.
Doing my thing.
For a minute you were at Hunter Army Airfield. I was in Germany. We wasn't together. What was you doing?
He told you he wasn't the church boy. He did tell you that literally from the beginning. He said, "Look, I ain't no church boy now."
Hey, I'm out in Savannah doing my thing now. But no, man, we figured it out. And once we figured it out, I said, wow, this is so crazy. I said, God, so you knew years ago that I was going to make this decision.
To be disobedient.
He set that up. And I was embarrassed, man. Like, it beat me down. But I didn't know. I decided to go to school after that. Went to, like you said, storing up. Now, because we hadn't stored nothing up, I thought I needed to get this job, get this $60,000, $120,000.
But we had stored up money, but we had stored up skills, abilities.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, exactly. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. I'm happy you said that because my skill set, I play keys, and I can play keys, and I play drums, so I'm a producer. I can play bass, I play a little bit of guitar, just a little bit, I sing as well. But my wife said those are skill sets that I've been developing since I was a kid, but I don't see that. When you don't think about things, you don't think that that's going to be something that's going to be profitable the right way, But God knew. Yeah. So I decided, okay, God, you embarrassed me, so let me go to school. So, still not wanting to do it.
Now you're embarrassed, let me do what you told me to do.
Yeah, exactly. So I go out and I signed up for, and I had I was going to go either to Oakwood or to Calhoun. And I didn't want to go to Oakwood only because I didn't want to fit in. I'm a musician amongst musicians, and now everybody sees, you don't stand out. So I decided to go.
I know.
Yeah, exactly. So I decided to go to Calhoun, man. I went up to Calhoun, and I was the only black guy, in the jazz band. So I'm the main piano player, or whatever. Everybody seeing me. Now, before I got to the music program, I was over in Huntsville. Now, there's no recording studio, so I thought it was a recording studio over there. So I'm taking all my electives that first semester. I'm like, where's the studio?
Boring.
It's very boring. So one of the advisors said, no, you got to go over to Decatur for the studio. I said, So that summer, I took off and went over there, and I saw Mr. Jimmy Cantrell. Shout out to Mr. Jimmy Cantrell. I met Mr. Jimmy Cantrell. When I saw him in the office, he was in his office, and he was just making jokes. He's an older white guy. He's in there making jokes and playing around with these guys. Whatever. I'm like, man, this looks fun. So I went and I talked to him, and we had a great conversation. And I came back that next semester, fall semester. I went into his class. There was a baby grand piano in the room. He said, anybody play keys? I said, I do. He said, okay, well, we're going to go through the class. When we get through, I want you to go over here and play, James. That's okay, too easy.
Don't say nothing that's going to get Mr. Jimmy in trouble now.
No. Okay. You know what I'm saying?
We love you. We appreciate you.
No, he did good. So
he did great.
Yeah. So I go over and I play the piano or whatever, and I begin to play. He said, can you read? I said, no, I can't read. I said, I just play by ear. He said, okay, well, can you play blues in F? I played in F. Can you play it in? He called a couple keys out. I played. He said, okay, well, just have fun. I closed my eyes, as I often do, and I just started playing. He came over, he started playing with me. He said, James, stop. Obviously you can feel, He said, stop. He said, we're going too far. I got to go to class. He said, look, when we get through with class, come to my office. Got through with class, went to his office, and he gave me this scholarship. He gave me a paper that said scholarship on it. I read it. And he was talking to a lot of people, whatever. I read it, I'm like, so I kind of slipped back in his office while everybody was in there, and I put it on his desk. And I try to walk out. He looks at it. I guess he knows that it's not filled out. He said, James, come back in. What are you doing? And I said, hey, I can't read, I think I got to do an audition. That's how you get scholarship. I can't read, And he said, what did you say? I'm not trying, because I want to be embarrassed by all these other guys in here, I can't read, And I'm trying to walk out. He's like, if you say that again, I don't ever want to hear you say you can't read again. He says out loud. Hey, I'm looking like, this is
and that's why we love you so much.
I know, like, man, he said, don't say that. He said, go and fill the paperwork out and bring it back to me. I filled the paperwork out, brought it back to him, and man, he gave me a full ride scholarship.
Wow.
Full ride scholarship. But then, as the years progressed,
talk about storing up, though. We still had stored up.
Because the military supposed to pay. There you go. I'll go ask that. Yep. Go ahead.
I had the GI Bill. He gives me the full ride scholarship. Then he makes me the lab assistant. Well, I got paid for that, so I'm getting paid to run the studio. I get the key to the studio, to all the studio. I got to learn all the programs. Then he locks me in with my mentor now, Bart Bush. Shout out to Bart Bush up in Nashville. I go up to Nashville, man, off of Mr. Jimmy. But now I'm making more money. Now Mr. Jimmy also
then he offers you a job in his company.
He has a company where he builds pools. He also does live sound. So, man, I'm making way more money with him than I would have been making up there.
Wow.
Way more money. And it's less stressful.
Yeah.
It was, man, those years was so much fun. Yeah. Yes. I said, okay, God, I just got to stop.
Should just listen to
little less. I got to stop not listening to you. Even when it looks like, because I'm thinking myself, going to school is going to be the GI Bill. And you start calculating, you said, I started calculating in my brain. That's like $1,500 a month. That ain't enough to do nothing with. If I go up here to the job, that's gonna be like $6,000 a month or more. You know what I mean? Yeah. To add to what we got coming in. In my mind, That made more sense.
Yes.
But with Mr. Jim and them, I was making more than 6, man. And it was less stress, you know. But but you don't think God knows, the Bible says that He has a plan. You know, He knows the plan that He has for us. You know, and in that regard, you have to trust God, even when it looks crazy, even when it looks like it does not make sense.
Exactly.
And now look at, man, I'm running all these programs. I'm a professor. I'm literally. I am the top engineer. You know, I don't play with that. I'm literally the top.
I can't believe he said that.
I'm
He
literally.
don't ever say that.
He finally flexed a little bit.
Literally, I am. If come to Launch Studios, if you want, if you want to find out, come over there. You'll see what I'm talking about. I know my stuff, but it's because of the path that God put me on, and that time frame, and that skill set that I've now developed by doing this over and over and over again. Because I love it, man. Like I love this. Like she loves trading. This is my thing. I'm up all night doing it.
But storing up that skill set allowed that even when and with the skill set with trading, that even when COVID happened and everything was shut down and people weren't able to work and do all of that stuff,
God knew that was
we
coming.
were still able to do what we needed to do to make sure we could take care of our family. Because I mean, I ain't have to go nowhere to trade. You didn't have to go anywhere to
people was coming to us.
To
music.
To what I'm about to say, to mix music. I was about to say to analyze music, to mix or to engineer music. Like they could just
analyze music. That is funny because that is technically what you're doing. I've never thought about it like that before.
Exactly. That's real.
That's a trader's mind, right?
That's what
for real. But they were able to just send him tracks, and so but storing up that skill set, I think it's the understanding, expanding your mind of what you're putting in the storehouse. Like, sometimes it's not always finances. Sometimes it's not always food or whatever the case may be.
Point.
Sometimes it's storing up skills. It's allowing yourself in whatever season God has placed you in to gather everything God allows you to get and to hang on to that, because you don't know what that next season is going to look like for you and how things are going to shift for you, that you have to be able to now tap into a portion of whatever you got in that storehouse.
Right. Yep. And I think the obedience piece is also important.
Yes.
You know, like I know I'm a life coach also. I do professional speaking. I do all these things, right? But one of the things about being a life coach, particularly, I'm not a Christian life coach, but I'm a believer. So
exactly.
Christians will come. Yeah, absolutely. Right. Believers will come to me, and I have a different conversation with believers, right? Because now it's like, well, if the Lord is telling you to do something and you're coming up with excuses as to why you can't do it,
which happens often,
it's a couple of things that now we need to tackle. And all can be true, or one can be true, but something's true.
Exactly.
Either you really don't trust God, or
that's a big old statement,
right? Or you don't think God doesn't know you.
Ooh, that's another big statement.
Or maybe you don't know God.
Oh,
another big statement.
One of these three,
and
all of these three.
Each one of them are boulders. Yes.
Because there's no reason to think, because when we hear God has a plan for you, so many times we lean towards the Jonah story where he's asking me to do something that I don't want to do.
Exactly. Oh, that's true.
We never consider, what if God knows you well enough to ask you to do something that you want to do, you just haven't been exposed to it yet.
Exactly. Because I definitely wanted to play music. That is so good.
Yeah, because if you had just been obedient, you would see how well I know you.
Yes.
And I craft a life for you that you would actually enjoy.
Yes.
But you're so busy trying to do that for yourself. And I'm giving you we're all looking for shortcuts. And God is like, I'm giving you the shortcut.
Yes.
Do this.
Yep.
And you're coming up with excuse after excuse after excuse.
Yep.
And then you mad at me for not blessing you. And I'm like, but I told you to do this.
Yes. And it's like how we quote
all
these. We literally just talked about this today. How we will quote all of these scriptures, but now when it's time to walk these scriptures out and live it, it's like, do you really believe what you're saying? Do you really believe that if you acknowledge Him in all of your ways, that He's going to direct your path? Right. And when He directs your path, are you going to follow the direction?
Follow what He's telling you?
Do you believe that all things work together for the good to them who love God and are called according to His purpose? Because if you do, this little situation that you're in right now, it shouldn't faze you. You shouldn't be bothered by it, because you know that whatever this is, God is working it for my good. That if you believe that He's the author and finisher of your faith, then you know that whatever you're in right now, that God is allowing this to happen because He's trying to get you somewhere. So right now, I'm just going to be at peace because I trust you.
Because I trust you.
And if you're not at peace, then like you said, somewhere along the way, your trust in God is not exactly what you said it was.
Yeah, you gotta face that.
Exactly.
And because a lot of people, they're either running from that truth, that I really don't trust God, and 9 out of 10, it's not that they don't trust God, they don't know God to trust God.
Ooh, exactly. That's good.
And when it comes to people, particularly it's throughout all religions, right? But particularly in the church, if you've been in the church your whole life, you think knowing Scripture is knowing God.
Exactly.
So there comes a point where the believer who's never did all the so-called big sins or the overt sins have to come to that realization, like, I know of God, like how I know of people on Facebook without ever meeting them.
Yep.
And I think I know them from their posts.
Yeah.
But I don't know them because I never actually had conversations with them and actually got to know them. Never even seen them in their environment, you know?
Yep.
Never really having that real encounter.
Yeah. Yeah, that real encounter.
And to add to what you just said about, trusting, in that situation I was talking about with myself, I did not trust God. Now that you're saying that, like, as I'm thinking about it, I did not, because I was at the house and I was complaining. I'm vacuuming the floors and doing, because she's working now. She's working.
So Susie homemaker.
Yeah, but I'm beating myself down mentally because I'm trying to figure out, like, why can't I get a job? Man, I had tried to get so many jobs. I was everywhere. I'm putting in applications all over the place.
Because he's a provider, naturally.
Yeah,
that's what he
literally
has to provide.
And shout out to the providers out there, the brothers
exactly.
who don't settle for less.
Exactly.
Who's gonna go get it.
Exactly.
But follow God.
Get up. Exactly. No, you're right, because I had to get up and get out of there, man. I was, like I said, I'm vacuuming. I pretty much got my apron on. I'm doing my thing. Hey, I'm folding clothes. I'm making sure that the house is good before she come home. Yeah. But I'm also putting in these resumes because I'm trying. My ultimate goal is to get a job. So I can't do this all day, every day, but I need to make sure when I do this, I'm going to be the best person doing this thing.
Exactly.
But when God told me to go to school, I knew he told me that before I left the military. But when I got to the house and I started putting these applications in my mind, I'm going to get a job and then go to school, because I got to provide, like my wife said. And it's not no little GI Bill stuff in my mind. That's not enough. When you're going from making the money that we was making together in the military as dual military personnel, I can't go from that to doing this in my mind. But like you said, those three things that you made the statement that you need to know, like, do you either you don't trust God, or, and a lot of times we'll say that because you grew up in church. Just because you grew up in church and you know some scriptures, and I can quote these scriptures.
Yes.
No, God will test you. He will send you through situations where, are you going to be obedient to, like you said?
And all the times he's trying of your faith.
Yes, and all the times he's not telling you what you don't want to do. There's times when he's telling you what's going to be beneficial for you, and it's going to be easy, because the Bible says the blessing of God make one rich and added no sorrow. So this would have added no sorrow in me going to school. Literally, if I would have just listened to God, I wouldn't have been embarrassed. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have been going through all the headache of trying to figure out, well, why are they making this much money? My wife is, because I went through this as well. My wife was making a certain amount of money, and I'm like, well, God, like, she bringing home the bacon. I'm just sitting here, and I never want to be a bum. You know what I mean? I wasn't taught that. I wasn't taught that the man sit at the house. I want to say that. Be careful if you at the house.
I have to bring him in.
Hey. Well, hey, I can talk with my cousin.
You can say what you want. It's my platform. You can say whatever you want.
I won't say that. I won't say that. I love everybody. Hey, but just be careful. Don't sit at the house and be that person. But no, I didn't want to be the guy who,
This is why y'all need us. This is exactly why y'all need us.
She saw it in my eyes. I was going to say it.
But that's why I do a solo podcast.
Yeah.
So I can say whatever I want to say. Exactly. She going to have to deal with me when it gets released.
You can get it out. Exactly. But no, man, trusting God, I had to learn in that situation, but I learned in retrospect, like after the fact, after I had, in hindsight, that, man, I got to trust God more. You know what I mean? The sad part is a lot of us have to learn that way. Not that God wants us to learn that way, but we have to, and it comes with those years that you have to go through of just believing God regardless of how crazy it sounds or looks. So what you said is so important. That trust is not just words.
Yeah.
Like, you really have to trust God. Like, because God knows, like my wife said, God already knew that COVID was coming. He knew the world was going to get shut down. Had I been up there in that job, I would have been with my wife, furloughed or whatever they was going through, or whatever. Yeah. And now we'd have been trying to figure out money.
Now we have no income.
No income, but because
we've been furloughed together.
Yeah, literally. But because, so we'd have been at the job together, having fun together, and furloughed together. Exactly. Yep. So God knew all that stuff, man. So I'm happy that, he embarrassed me like he did and did what he did those years prior that made me look like I look. Sent me to school, and when I built my studio, and my wife said, I made so much money that time because everybody else was out of their job, so they now want to push to their hobbies to try to get their artistry going or whatever they want, and then podcast was kicking off too around that time frame. Man, I had people hit me up from Jamaica, from Germany, from New York, California. I had a lot of people, sending mixes or whatever, and I was just knocking them all out, and we had money that we can, feed our kids and do all the stuff that we was doing because I was finna say I decided to follow God, but God forced me.
He kind of pushed you there.
But in learning that, man, my wife and I, we teach that now, that you have to really trust God, not play trusting.
Right.
If God tells you to do it, no matter what no pastor say to you, no matter what no other minister or somebody else who's telling you, because there's a story that we talk about. It's in the Bible. I think it's over in Kings. The young prophet and the old prophet.
Right. Yep.
Yeah,
one of my favorite scriptures.
Yeah, when God told him to go down to give the word and to leave, don't go back and say nothing to anybody.
That's right.
So on his way out, the old prophet prophet saw him and said, hey, come back to my house and eat.
But he said, God said.
He sure said, yep. He said, God, I'm a prophet too. And God told me to tell you to come back to my house.
That's what he said.
And he went back to his house. He did what God told him not to do.
Yeah.
And on the way out, somebody saw him out there, just outside of the city or whatever. The donkey that was on was still standing there, but somebody saw the lion. The lion had killed him. And the old man came and told him, they said, "Who is this not the prophet that came down?" And the old man came and said, yeah, that's the one that was disobedient to God. And you're the one that
who urged you to be disobedient.
What crazy was he was at their house and the old prophet got the vision. Said, oh, you disobey God.
Exactly.
Exactly.
That's why you got to be careful, man. You have to be careful. You can't be listening to people just because they say they're in a position. You got to have a real relationship with God. Right. And that relationship comes with, like you said, not reading like people that read posts. And I know you know. I have to develop that by spending time outside of me needing because I'm sick or my wife is sick or my kids or they need because I need something. No, I just want to spend time with God because I want to spend time with him in order to get to know him so that, when I do need something, if I need something, I can then go and not feel like I'm just looking at an ATM machine and trying to put something in and get something out.
Yeah. There's also a different level of comfortability going to God when you develop a relationship with him. True. There's more of a certainty.
A boldness.
Right. Exactly. Yes, because I'm like you know me. You know me. You know what I'm saying? Like we've been sitting here, praying, I've been fasting, I've been talking to you, and I ain't asked you for nothing. Like I've just been wanting to get to know you. Yeah. And so when you go to him when you need something, after you've done all of that stuff when you didn't need it, there, like you said, there's a certain level of boldness that you have when you go to him, and there's an assurance that like he's gonna hear me. But when you haven't had time to develop a relationship with him, you ain't really sure.
It's guesswork.
You I'm gonna try this.
I'm
gonna try him. But if I know I got a relationship, I'm not trying him. I'm taking to him what he's asked me to bring to him.
That's right.
He told me to bring my burdens and cast my cares on him because he cares for me. Because I already know that it's easy for me to go ahead and do that.
That's right. That's so good. That's so good. I'm gonna ask y'all 2 more questions.
Okay.
The first to last question is what would you say a healthy mindset or perspective about money? Like what would be a version of a healthy perspective on money? Since we talk about the psychology of money, and when I hear you speak, even about losing money, I know so many people where just the thought of losing money shakes them up. Yeah. Now we all know if you've been in the financial space, you know you never invest what you can't lose.
Exactly.
Right? But some people don't even realize that there's a leak in their cup, right? Like they have money that can be invested that they can lose. They're already throwing away. They don't realize that they're eating out, they're throwing that money away, or they're eating that money away. The clothes that they're buying, they just think, it's just a couple dollars, I can buy some clothes. That's a leak in your cup. You know what I mean? There's so many different leaks where you're already low-key wasting your money.
Yes.
If you could plug those holes and take that money here, but they don't have, and I don't want to lead an answer, but I'll just say this. They don't have that like abundance perspective as it pertains to money. They really do have a scarcity mindset towards it, which I think is very unhealthy, But you being the money person, what would you say?
I mean, you kind of already hit it on the head. That is, you got to identify a healthy mindset toward money. First of all, is understanding that money is a tool, and that you should be in control of your money, and your money should not be controlling you. A lot of people decide literally how they live their life based upon the amount of money that they have, rather than fashioning a life for themselves. And then from the life that I fashion for myself now, how do I go about obtaining the money in order to live this life that I fashion from? And I don't even just say fashion for myself, but understanding what God has promised me. Now, what do I got to do to obtain the finances in order to be able to live this life that God has promised me? And then oftentimes what you will learn is that the money that you're chasing, you really don't need, because God will put people sometimes in your place to provide for you. We think that the Bible does tell us that money answers all things, but at the same time, you got to understand that sometimes that money doesn't always have to come from you.
That's right. Exactly.
Everybody wants to be wealthy. Everybody wants to be rich, and I'm not saying that anything against it, because I teach wealth. I teach a wealth mentality, but wealth isn't always money.
That's right. That's right.
There are so many resources that God has placed in our lives, and one of the best resources God has ever given us is people. The best. Our relationship with people. We just had a situation with some ex-business partners where we had to explain to them that it was never about the money for us. Because one thing we know is that money comes and money goes. We're gonna always make money, simply because of the mindset we have towards money.
Exactly.
Because we're not chasing it. Like people are, I'm chasing the bag. Like no, if you set yourself on a course where you're chasing God, the bag gonna chase you.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And when it chases you, so when the money catches you,
almost spoken tongues. Go ahead. Then we never gonna end.
I gotta interpret. That's my gift.
You gotta move the microphone and start shouting.
We gotta lay hands. But the money is gonna chase you. But what happens when the money catches you?
Yeah.
When the money catches you, is it gonna find holes in you? Because when the money does catch you, if it finds holes in you, it's gonna catch you, but it's gonna leave you just
straight
as fast.
through. Exactly.
That's right.
So now have you plugged those holes to make sure that once this money catches me, now I'm able to take the money that I have and multiply it so that now this money can work for me so I don't have to. I enjoy it. I asked him a couple of times. I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to go back to work.
No.
Man, I called him back. I was like, listen. I enjoy being able to have dinner ready when you come, because for him, his job is something that he absolutely loves doing. Yeah. He loves going to teach those students every single day. I love teaching, my students, but it's not something that I have to go and do every day because I run my own business.
Right. Yeah.
I love that space, and that only happened because when the money caught up to me, I understood the importance of allowing now that money to work for me. That's right. So I don't have to put in as much. It's going to sound crazy. It might even sound a little lazy to some people, but I don't have to put in as much effort.
Yeah.
Because I want to be able to enjoy life.
That's right.
And so understanding that in order to enjoy life, you can't always be chasing something that's tiring. It's mentally draining. Yeah. And you always got to find time to rest. Like your life should be, because I'm going to put this on everybody, but I enjoy, I had to choose my words. I enjoy having a life that I can choose to work and I don't have to choose to rest.
Exactly. But you also did the hard thing, because I think there's so many...
At the beginning, yes.
Oh, yes.
I talk to so many people, right? Yeah. And I just be like, yo, you're making your life harder by trying to make it easier.
Yes.
Go do the hard
Perfectly
thing.
said, yes.
The sooner you do it, the sooner your life will be easier. And the pushback that I get over, and I'm like, do y'all know who y'all talking to? Exactly. I got 5 kids. I'm on the bed. I know what it means to.
Yes.
But it's like they don't hear me.
And when you do the hard things, put processes in place so you don't have to repeat the hard things.
Exactly.
Yes, systems in place so you don't have to repeat the hard things.
Exactly. Yeah.
Some people do the hard things, but then they don't put systems in place, and now they got to repeat the hard things. Over and over. You keep finding yourself in the same cycle over and over again. Like, what have you learned the first time you got to that point of what you call success, and now you're back at starting at one again, and then you get success and you starting at one again. Like, this is a cycle that you're repeating. What's causing you to have to repeat this cycle? Because you have not put systems in place for your money to now do the work for you.
That's so good. Did you want to add to that? Or?
No, I was just going to say, like you said about putting well, I just want to say this and be out of the way because she just said everything. I don't want to go after that. Yeah, but no, I just want to make the statement. The hard stuff up front, we didn't have the money technically. I mean, we did, but we understood the importance of investing in ourselves. For her to fly to Texas, to fly to these places that she was going in order to learn the concepts of trading. She went to where her mentor was at and took the actual classes so she can actually be, because you could do a Zoom call. I mean, it's easy to do that. However, it's different when you're in
that
a
space.
room amongst others who are doing the same thing. So we spent the time to make sure we had the money to send her to this place. Go over there and be there for 3, 4, 5 days or however long you got to be there in order to consume the information. But when you go into these places like that and you invest in yourself, like with me, when I went to school, it wasn't easy per se it wasn't easy. I'm just gonna make it because I was breaking down on the side of the road trying to go to Nashville. We had to figure out childcare for my daughter. She was working while she was working, so she would get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, go to work, get off at work, and then go to Oakwood and be to Oakwood for class until
4 hours.
Like 11 o'clock at night.
Week.
So she wouldn't get home until 11 o'clock at night. So I had to try to get to Nashville, do what I got to do with my mentor in a session with somebody big, but help him get out of there so I can rush back to the house so I don't get the traffic or whatever. But then my car would break down. We got to try to figure out, call somebody to get him to go pick the door up. It was a lot that was going on, but I knew how important the investment itself was, So that was the first thing, with me doing that. And then the second thing was when she got out, paying that money that we had to pay for her to fly down to all these different places to go with her mentor. We drove up to, Kentucky? She did that class? Tennessee, up in Tennessee, she did that class up there. So all that stuff was we're going to drag our family. We're going to do this. We're going to do all these things.
I invested in myself. Yes. And a lot of people don't want to do that.
You invest in yourself, but not just money though. You invest
time
money, you invest
energy,
time, effort, you up all night, and like you said, some people don't want to do those things, and that's the important part. If you do that part and not complain about it, it's easy to complain.
Woo!
That is the first thing.
Complain
yes,
about
that
it.
is the first thing, because when you start complaining, you change your mindset, and then when you get into the place where you're supposed to be consuming the knowledge,
you convince yourself it's not worth it.
Exactly. Yep. And now over time you begin to quit. You quit before you quit. You quit in your mind.
Yep, that's good.
And after about maybe a month, 2 weeks, however long later, you end up quitting and you just walk away from the thing. And that's the thing that was set. So now you see people 2-3 years, that thing come back around and you're like, man, if I would have stuck it out. By now I'll be boom, boom, boom.
Exactly right.
And
I deal with that right now, and because I say all the time, had I continued in school when I started, I would have my doctorates right now.
I feel like that about Bitcoin and
Ethereum.
Don't start that story up. Please don't.
All right, I got it. Man.
We wanted to invest in Bitcoin in 2010.
Yeah.
And I said no.
I heard about it.
I didn't know.
I heard about it in Iraq.
You ain't about to scam me.
So
that's how I felt.
You ain't about to scam me.
So all the guys who were now the thing about it, my wife and I, we had made a pact.
He got one more question now, because we
well, actually 2 more now, because another one came to mind.
We have to stop each other.
No, we'll talk about the Bitcoin thing later then, because I know we both got stories with that. Because Ethereum, Lord Jesus.
Yeah. Ooh, that's another one.
That's another one?
Go.
All right. Because y'all coming back. Y'all know that, right?
Okay, exactly.
Cool.
Yeah. We're back, yeah.
All right, so now another question added before my very last question.
Okay.
Do you think day trading can save some people's lives financially?
Oh, you want to answer that first?
No, you go for it.
Okay. I offered.
You did offer.
Yes.
No,
yes,
this her area.
I think it can, but it's not for everybody. I think it can save some people's lives financially, but it's not for everyone. If you're looking to get rich overnight, it's not for you. It will put you in a much worse space than what you're in right now. You have to be mentally ready to start a journey like day trading. You have to get off of the Facebook, social media, the highlight. I keep saying that because they make it seem so. A lot of people make it seem so glamorous, and they don't talk about the downside of that. Like you said, they talk about the up, and up, but they don't talk about the other side of that. Yeah. And so, short answer to your question is yes, I can. I do think it can save people's lives financially, or people's financial lives. But I also know that it takes effort. It takes work. It takes learning the process. It takes knowing that. Thank you, Holy Spirit, for that nugget you just dropped on me. You can't use it like it's an emergency room. You can't use it like it's an emergency room. You got to go, like you said, your primary care provider on a regular basis. You have to be intentional about this. It can't be something that is not a fly-by-night type of situation. You can't try to use it to patch up holes in your finances. If you got holes in your finances before you start day trading, there are some things you need to go ahead and fix first. Then start doing that. Because even with the advice that I would give my students, and you said it earlier, of never risk more than you can afford to lose. Yeah. Sometimes you don't know what you can afford to lose. Yeah. Or that ain't no or. Sometimes some people just don't know what they can afford to lose because they have not been paying attention to their finances.
They don't know their numbers.
Yes, they don't know their numbers. If we sit down and one of the things I've started to implement into my program is the very first thing I implement with my students now is a budget. We're gonna get into your business. Where's your money going? Yeah. Because I don't want you to be like, well, she taught me this and she told me this and now I'm seeing her make all this money and I'm not making no money this, that, and third. First of all, let's talk about how much you have to start with. Yeah. And people think, oh, well, I got this money and you can do this with, but if you have an emergency or something happen, you can't cover down. And I can only say this because we've been there. Yeah. A lot of the concept that I teach my students is not like book knowledge that I've learned. This is real life experience. Yes. We've been there where we were risking money that we thought we could afford to lose, but we didn't have money set aside for emergency. And so when the emergency kicked off, here we not in a bind. Guess what we got to do now? We got to go into our investment accounts. And every time I've had to put money on my investment account, things pick up. Like, especially my crypto account. That was where I'm like, I'll just pull some money out of that and we can just cover down later. Amazon. We pull money out of it, or Amazon, we pull money out of it and bam, the market just spikes. And it's like, man, now I got to figure out how to get back in.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yep.
Because we was risking money that we honestly could not afford to lose because we didn't have enough money set aside to cover down any emergency.
And then to add to that too, what you said earlier about being off of social media and all that stuff. We talk about this in church. We live in a world of repetition. You know, the sun goes up, it goes down. It goes up, it goes down. The moon goes up, it goes down. The grass grows, it dies. Like literally everything is repeating itself. You're in a strong cycle. So because of that strong cycle, we unintentionally conform. You know what I mean? So when you see, if you're on social media all the time, you know, and you're just kind of scrolling, you begin to see all the ads and all that stuff. As you scroll, you see these people saying, hey, I got into this trade. I did this, I did that. Before you know it, you'll be jumping into the trade as well. You'll be doing the thing that you see everybody else doing.
And that's why I don't send out signals.
Yeah, exactly. And like my wife said, it takes effort. It takes work to not conform to the things that are around you. It takes effort not to be on social media. It takes effort not to listen to what you're hearing with the advertising and all that stuff, but to believe yourself in the skill set that you have developed by not being in that. You know, you see people do the, thing of the first part of the year, the New Year's resolution. Yeah. They'll do that and like they go on diets, they go on all the stuff and they'll do it for a month, 2 weeks, you know, so some of them fail. They don't do the whole thing. But you do that and then with the respect of I'm going to have discipline to change now, but you don't have enough discipline to really change. And it's not just, you know, it's one thing. If you can't have enough discipline to do this one thing, typically that lack of discipline is in a lot of things.
That's
exactly.
Right. I teach that all the time.
Exactly. So in that regard, it's not that you can't make money day trading, but like my wife said, you have to have discipline. Yeah. And you have to have enough discipline to have a plan. And inside of that plan, you got to stick to it. And like she said, get away.
Familiar.
I know, right? Get away from the social media. Get away from people and friends and, you know, the fad. There's so many trends happening. There's a million trends. Everybody say they trade. Everybody say they, even when I was doing learning how to do engineering, everybody engineers now. Everybody, you know, but I had to kind of pull away from that and then get in with someone who's been doing it, a mentor. That's so important. I got so many mentors in so many different facets of life. But I always teach my students at school, you need a mentor. You need a mentor for everything. So I get with my mentor who's been doing it for 30, 40 years. He's experienced. He's been doing this. So now when I get with him and I ask the questions that I may see somebody else say something about or social media, I can go back and ask this person that I trust first. Ask him questions and he began to lead me the right way. And I began to then quickly see, man, that's just conformity. They're conformed and these people are just trying to sell plugins. They're just trying to sell, certain things, you know, so because of that, they're making you think that this thing works and it really doesn't work. Or it works, but you have to do certain things for it. They're just trying to get you to pay for it. You know? Same concept like with people that's trading, and I think you went through this for a moment in your skill set. There's so many folks that were scamming people. You know?
So all the scammers I know are traders.
Literally.
Once I see it on their profile, I'll be like, I ain't following you back.
So when my mentor first offered the opportunity to learn day trading, I was like, you know, I think she cool people, but I ain't really too sure about this thing. And I had to pray about it. Like literally, I didn't just jump into it. And when the Holy Spirit like released me to do it,
Thank God.
I literally got the last slot she had available in her beta group. But it's been important throughout my journey, even now. Every now and then I pop in and go back and rewatch some of the classes that she recorded way back when, and even now having to reinvest into things because the market has changed and it's shifted so much that we can get so caught up in doing the thing day to day and become so routine in it that you sometimes miss the shift and you need that extra person, you know, in your ear. Like that's why, like you said, having a coach or a mentor is so important because sometimes even when you lack discipline, having somebody to be like, listen, you need to pay attention, you need to focus, you need to do this, you're not properly managing your risk, you're not doing this, that, and the other. And so, which is what I meant when I said about, you know, you need a primary care provider. You need somebody that knows you and understands you, and they know your habits. They know you're willing to download your medical history to them. You're willing to download your financial history to your coach to say, hey, this is where I am, this is where I've been, these are the things that have happened, not so good, not so great. These are the areas that I've been really good in, you know, I've never had a problem with. So now, how do we create a lifestyle, or in this case, how do we create a trading plan or something that I can work within with all the information that you now have about me in conjunction with the knowledge that you have about the market and how to operate as a trader.
That's fire. So. All right, my last question, and this is the most important one. Okay. So I want y'all to really think about this before you answer. The best 90s sitcom. I know. That's a hard question. I told you it's the most important one. So,
wow. The best 90s.
You're going to get judged by your answer.
I was just say, maybe I should not answer this one.
Man.
Man. No, it's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. But what would you say is the best? I know. This is,
man.
I don't know, man. That's a whole.
Yeah, man.
I'm thinking like
because they're also good. I mean,
they were.
They don't even make
they
them.
don't. They don't make them like that anymore.
They
Like
don't.
Family Matters, they don't make them like that anymore.
Right.
Yeah,
and
man.
I'm thinking to myself like, and I know people probably judge me really hard, but it kind of went from like late '80s to like early '90s.
That's true. No, that's true. I'll give you that.
Wait.
And don't y'all murder me on this, but for me, I would have to say the Cosby Show.
I'm not mad at that.
I would have to say the Cosby because they
and how they exude black
excellence.
families.
Yeah,
Yeah,
family.
exactly.
But
Black
also,
excellence.
actually, because Family Matters was more, and no disrespect.
No,
Family
exactly,
Matters more like the blue collar, common.
It was, exactly.
Cosby's was, you got the doctor and the lawyer. They're living in the brownstone, making money.
Exactly.
You know,
And
And they
then
also had time for their children though.
Yes, and then you got the mother figure who is strong in the household, but
that's
smart. Like, I mean, very smart.
Yeah.
Have the father figure who's smart, but the kids equally saw them as full, authority. Like, I love how that whole team worked.
And I love how the kids could never pit them against each
They
other.
could not,
Like,
exactly.
they were on the same page. Like,
Exactly. Yep.
love that.
Yeah. So I don't know. I guess I have to stick with my wife on that because
Okay.
the Cosby Show was great. I mean, I didn't want to go to college, but I love how they had the spinoff when they got to a different world.
Oh yeah, baby, because I was going to
Yeah.
Hillman.
Yeah.
You hear me?
But it showed black folks then that you can go to college
That's right.
and get a great degree, but also be amongst your people, and then deal with real hard situations that they had to deal with, on that show. So
I like how
And
it
it showed us that
shows.
being educated doesn't
Exactly.
It doesn't
And it's
eliminate
important.
problems because you're still
No,
black
that's
at
true.
the end of the day.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's true too.
And I like how it showed a little bit of that HBCU culture.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I went to Hampton before I went to Oakwood.
Okay.
Yeah, and I didn't watch A Different World because I was a whole gangster, right? So I
just
didn't.
It's on Netflix right
I didn't
now.
watch it. I didn't watch it until I got older. She put me on.
Yeah, no, I watched it on Netflix. I was like, yo, now that first season was kind of rough. Let's just be honest. That first season was a little rough. I don't
They
remember
shifted
this.
it.
Yeah, right. No,
Even,
that
I
shit.
kid you not, bro. Like even though it's on Netflix, whenever because I rewatch it over and over again, I always start with the second
You know
season.
what's No disrespect, but that first season was kind of rough. Yeah, but having gone to Hampton, I appreciate the show a lot better. Yeah. I'm almost glad I didn't see it before I went.
Yeah.
Because I'm watching, I'm like, you know what? There's a lot of truth here. Like, this is how it really gets down.
really is,
If you don't know, then you just don't know.
So what's yours?
I was hoping you was gonna add. See, I was gonna close out. I was gonna avoid
Since
it.
we were asking that.
Oh, yo, you're good. See, that's how you can't get with professionals because they do this too. So they don't.
We're not interviewing.
We're not trying to
Like,
take
we
over the
won't
show,
know.
however.
Yeah, man. The best. I would say the Cosby is the best, but I'll tell you my favorite will be Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
I thought
Bro,
about
that was
too.
my second favorite.
Now wait.
Yeah.
Why was it your favorite?
What I liked about it is I like the dynamic of Will coming from West Philly.
Yep.
And he was supposed to be from a bad neighborhood, but he wasn't
Himself, exactly.
Yeah, he wasn't hood.
Exactly.
I mean, he came from that, but he wasn't hood.
Yep.
But he didn't really belong in that scene neither.
Exactly.
And that in between state, I feel like a lot of people could relate to that.
Yeah.
Where they grow up in a certain environment and they're not that.
Yeah.
But they might placate or they might be that because they have to.
Because they got to be there for a moment. Because
Yeah.
you're in that situation. Yeah.
But then when you leave it, there's almost like a pride. Like, but that's where I come from.
Exactly.
He's trying to hold on
Exactly.
to that thing that ain't even really serving you.
Yep.
So I love that ideology,
That's a
especially
great
when
point.
he goes back home and he kind of like, he starts talking to his friends and they're like, so I'm going to see you next week. He's like, I got this to do. Like, oh, we got that. Nah. Like, yeah, I ain't never coming back.
Exactly.
Right. That was one of my favorite episodes because it's a reality where those who are so-called privileged, which I love the fact that y'all are out there every fourth Sunday, doing work every fourth Sunday.
Exactly.
There's so many people that are so-called making it.
Yep.
And they do their good deed to massage their conscience.
Yes.
Exactly.
Because and we going to say this for the next episode. Y'all could really quote me on that. But there is almost like a guilt in being successful financially.
Ooh.
I know. Look, I know. That's why I said we're going to say that.
Yeah, we got to say it.
But
But
you're
you're
talked
right, though.
about.
You
Yeah.
are so right.
It doesn't
I feel
get
like
talked
you got a
about.
camera in our house.
Oh no, I understand because we start
right.
thinking, what can I do to get back? What can I do to get back?
Yeah.
But then there's all the other side, like, am I cashing my? Look, we're gonna save it. Right?
We're
gonna save it.
Because I got something that I really want to say, but
Yeah.
it'll take us further. Like,
Trying to close.
Right
Yeah,
now,
no,
we will.
But that's so
we will
good.
go there.
That's
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Like,
So we're gonna build
we'll
more on
talk
that
about that,
next
yeah,
time. But
okay.
a Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is my favorite. All right, man. Thank y'all so much. Y'all
You're so
so much
welcome.
fun.
Thank you for
Y'all are
having
much
us.
fun.
This was fun.
How can they find you?
You can find us on social media, on Facebook, Chatting with the Carters.
Yep.
You can find Chatting with the Carters, Launch Studios, Chainbreakers Ministry. We're all on Facebook.
All of those.
On Instagram, you can find us at With the Carters 1. I said Instagram, right? TikTok also at With the Carters 1. You can find us on Instagram for the ministry. We don't really do much on that, so that ain't even important for y'all.
We gotta start though.
We gotta do that, but yeah, that's how you can find us. And if you want to reach out to us or questions or anything like that, support at my818life.com.
Exactly.
So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Hope you guys got all that. It's a lot of stuff that we got going on.
I mean, we're going to tag it in the description anyway. So
Thank you.
even if they don't have it, it's going to be right there for them.
Also, if you guys want to come out and help us out, we don't mind. We're over off of Putman Drive, as he said.
1035 Putman Drive, Northeast.
We're feeding the homeless, so if you guys just want to come out and help out just to serve or to give a hug, we also welcome that as well.
Yeah, no, you're definitely going to see me and some of my brothers out there for sure. We definitely going to hold y'all down, man.
Perfect.
Man, that's the Launch Souffrant podcast. Thank y'all for joining me. As always, you are important. Your presence matters. And if no one else tells you, I love you. Peace.